Welcome to the first of our monthly quest videos. I am excited for what Spirit will bring through for us in these videos as we go on this quest in 2025 for the 5 elements. Of course, the ultimate quest is that for the ethereal, our connection to the spirit world. For it's the only thing that is stable and brings true contentment. And we come here to experience the opposite of who we are. But the journey is all about eventually returning to full awareness of who we really are, whether that be as a human character or when we step out of these human machines to return fully as a spiritual being. Our first 5 videos will focus on each of the 5 elements, and then the second half of each video will be focused on talking about our 4 elemental spirit guides and our 5th element spirit guide, also known as our guardian angel, though we will talk a little different about them than is usually talked about. We'll also look into how we can get to know our own elemental spirit guides. How exciting, I know. Now, we've had a ton of energy this month with the new moon in the air sign of Aquarius, the January 1st 1-1 Zen gate of the magician, which has Mercury air energy. And of course, moving into the Aquarius season with the sun moving into this fixed air sign. So there are videos for each one of these, which I will have linked in the description box of the video down below. And also, the playlist links will be at the end of this video. So you can check out extra knowledge if you want to, and any tools that Spirit provides in these videos around the elements. So it's very fitting with all this air energy that this be the moment that we introduce the wind horse. The wind horse, the knight of air, the knight of swords in the tarot. In this year of quests, we will meet each of the 4 horses and knights of the tarot, including the 5th horse energy of the major arcana in tarot. The air element rules over our mind, our thoughts, our beliefs and values, our knowledge, street smarts, our wisdom, and communication. And air energy, if you imagine air, it's scattered all over the place, everywhere at the same time. It's aware and it's absorbing information. And of course, sounds travel across the air waves. So when the wind blows, it transports seeds, allowing things to grow among the earth energy. Air is the fuel by which fire energy lives, and wind blows clouds across the sky, which are expressions of the water energy. You'll find and notice as we go through all these quests, each element interacts with one another, but they all have their separate kingdoms they coordinate. And the air element rules our mental adventure. The quest for the sword. Every knight has a quest. It's what they do. And when we look at each of the knight of the minor arcana in tarot, they each hold the ace of their suit in their hands, representing this is what they long to have in their hands, and thus in their quest to pursue finding it. The quest for the Knight of Swords, then, is for the Ace of Swords, higher wisdom, higher perspective, capital T truth, rooted in the unconditional love of the higher realms. It's a journey from mental distractions caused by those small t truths that we're all given, rooted in fear of rejection, fear of failure, fear of not being enough. And it's a movement toward the ability to have mental focus without fear, seeing the world through a completely different mindset. And why is it important to go on this quest, right? Well, our thoughts and our beliefs are what help us determine the story we apply to a situation we experience as the human character that we're playing this lifetime. Human life is meaningless to the Creator. What? Which by that I mean that the Creator doesn't have judgment about what the meaning of human life is. The Creator knows life is about experiencing, and that there are unlimited amounts of experiences that we can have as these human characters, ranging from the highest of vibration of love energy to the lowest of vibration of love energy. Judgment is a human thing. Good, bad, better, worse, blah, 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 blah. It's interesting when you hear the story of the Garden of Eden in the Christian religion. The Creator told Adam and Eve, whatever you do, don't eat from that tree of good and evil, the tree of knowledge, because on that day you will lose paradise. Now, humans have tainted that story a bit, making it about punishment and that God was upset, etc., so that one could use the threat of a hell over another. But what the deeper meaning behind this story was that when we live with unconditional love, we don't have judgment. We understand everything is perfect and beautiful as an experience. When we enter into this judgmental human brain, then all paradise is lost because we spend most of our time fearing that we're failing and being looked at as bad somehow, and will get rejected by other humans and even a judgmental God. Gasp, no way. But this is the distraction, beliefs of fear. The quest for the Ace of Swords is important because as long as we are imprisoned by our thoughts and beliefs rooted in fear, we will have trouble seeing the world clearly, and it will be a tough journey. We can eventually see that rather than life being a place of good and bad, the things we learn and the choices we make transform our journey from either being a rough path or an easier path. It's not about right and wrong, but about easier or harder. There is no judgment from Spirit around this, just different choices with different experiences and results. So the gift of the Ace of Swords. Each ace brings us a gift from Spirit, and the Ace of Swords brings us a double-edged sword that on one side it gives us the ability to connect to the capital T truth that is rooted in unconditional love, while on the other side of the blade it gives us the ability and clarity to transform small t truths that are rooted in fear into higher wisdom and knowledge. This is the journey of the suit of swords in the tarot. So, of course, we'll take a look at these. So we start off here with the Ace of Swords. And with the beginning of this brings clarity of a knowingness that there is a higher knowledge than the opinion of humans that's provided under the false mask of truth, when truly it is only popular opinion that we're given when we're growing up, right? And then that moves us into the Two of Swords, where we're faced with a duality. It gives us a choice between the lower vibrational truth rooted in fear and the higher vibrational capital T truth rooted in unconditional love. I like that are blindfolded, and it's all about, closing our eyes and opening our heart, seeing things from a higher perspective, gives us the power of choice of the mental story that we apply to something, right? Which brings us into the Three of Swords. Now, the Three of Swords, it stings us with the truth that expectations and opinions that we were given, they result in disappointment. which points us inward to the truth. So when we're looking outward for those things of the outside world to fulfill us and to complete us, that's where we experience this. And as we go through the odd numbers, you'll notice that twos are more, like the even numbers are more flowing, and the odd numbers are bringing an obstacle to help us go to the next level, which is what the Three of Swords does. Because it brings us the Four of Swords. And the Four of Swords does bring us mental stability for a moment, and we find a moment of mental rest in that higher truth to be, once again, of course, struck with mental conflict between our head and our heart when we move into the Five of Swords. So you can see how they're resting on the Ace of Swords here. That's where they find the calmness, but then battle and conflict come in here with the Five of Swords. And it brings small t truth beliefs to our face in order to free us from their grasp. Because when we face conflict, then we can realize those things that are driving us in that direction. So let me just scooch these over a little bit here. Maybe we can fit in one more over on the edge here. And that's what brings us into the balanced Six of Swords. You can see here, this gives us the strength to leave old ways of thinking behind and move into new ways of thinking. We move from the choppy waters into the calmer waters. And again, gain a more balanced mentality to then, yes, once again, move into here. Let's see here. Well, we can get all these fit in here. I got several more cards to show you here. So let's make some space here. There we go. It brings us into the Seven of Swords. This brings this obstacle into our path. It mirrors to us to show us the beliefs and the mindsets that we have that have deceived us, lied to us, made us feel as if things were being stolen from us. And often that'll be mirrored into the outside world because what we have going on in the inside will be reflected on the outside. So if we have deceptive thoughts and beliefs, we might experience deceptive people in our lives as well. But thankfully, we move into the Eight of Swords. And though this, in the beginning, this looks a little rough here, this allows us to move past old ways of thinking that made us feel this blinded and bound and trapped. You know, a very mentally flowing number. It allows us to move to the final two cards that represent the final release of some mindsets that were mental nightmares, which is what we have with the Nine of Swords, the Nightmare and Insomnia card. So we could actually even have insomnia as we're releasing some thoughts and beliefs because it's so heavy on our mind. But we get to a place mentally where, you know, nines are a number of endings and beginnings, but the Ten of Swords, as you can see here, they've had it. They don't need any more of this. And so this brings us to this place where we can no longer stand trying to please everyone else and investing energy into trying to meet up all of these expectations, all these swords, which are the small t truths rooted in fear. We have in our mind these expectations, and what we think are in the minds of other people too. And so we become sick and tired of trying to be something that is fighting against our true, authentic selves. And then we move through the royalty. You know, we move from the page to the knight, which is what we've been talking about on this quest. Here's that Knight of Swords here. And then also into the Queen of Swords, who not only rules over the swords with the king, but she also has water. All queens get water behind the scenes. So she helps bring in a balance between head and heart, kind of the same energy of the Two of Swords in a way, but at a very heightened place, and the King of Swords too. So, you know, the the king is very interesting here. They're not only just the co-ruler with the queen, but all kings are given a second portion of air. So they are actually become the master of the mind, the master of the air element. So it's a powerful energy that comes in with here. But we become the student of the higher mind, sharing what we've learned from others as the page, shouting out, hear ye, you know. And we continue to seek after the higher truth with the night energy, balancing heart and mind with the queen, as we said. But you know, there is this completion of the king as we go through all of these. They've experienced every part of this journey. So the air energy, I love tarot, how it represents our whole journey along as we're, you know, experiencing these mental adventures, this quest for the air energy. We also have major arcana energies that help with the big things in our lives, though at times they might work behind the scenes and under the surface. Let me clear this away real quick, and we'll come back to that. All right, so now we have a clean slate. So the major arcana of air, though some of these that I'll talk about have other zodiacal sign significance and energy as their core, they do bring in the energy of wanting to see things from that higher perspective. You know, we've got the Hierophant, which is our higher self, asking us to see things from a higher perspective. We have the Hanged Man, which is all about hanging upside down and seeing things from that higher perspective. Very transformational energy that comes in there. We've got the Devil card energy. Capricorn, big thinkers, Capricorn Saturn energy. But this is all about challenging our long-held beliefs, shaking and rattling our cage to be able to see things differently. And then the Judgment card as well. Again, our higher self calling us to see things from a higher perspective. So that's one aspect of these cards. When I get these, it really is a significant message to we're being invited to see things from a different perspective, that capital T truth instead of from the lower. Then we have air sign Libra energy expressed through the Justice card, which usually has this Ace of Swords in their hand over here, and then the scales here as well, balancing out our mindset, being able to see both perspectives of fear and unconditional love. You know, we start off way out of balance, dumped a lot of small t truths of fear, and so it's way out of balance, the scales, when they start out. But we also don't want to go too out of balance because we'll become too heavenly minded for any earthly good. So it is about the balance between the two perspectives. And then we have both the last card in the major arcana, the World card, along with the Fool card energy that comes in here. Represents the death and rebirth of cycles, or the completion of cycles. In this case, mental cycles of beliefs, right? The Fool card is Uranus energy. It's the ruler of the air sign Aquarius. It's all about change of perception, the old ways not being a fit for the new world ahead. And freedom comes as we look at the world through the eyes of the Fool, a child, seeing the world as a place without restriction or expectations, but a place of endless possibilities. The mind is blown open, able to see through the higher mind's eye, looking at creative ways of solutions and building things. So these really bring in quite a freedom of the mind when they're coming in here. And of course, we can't forget the Star card. We got the Aquarius energy, air sign Aquarius energy, which in this case, it's like one of the dream come true cards normally, wishing upon a star, balancing of chakras, etc. But this can also be, especially with what we're all talking about, gaining clarity on what the dream come true story is. What was planted in our head growing up, someone else's dream that we're living, and coming out of that, what is our true dream? How we want to authentically and uniquely share the unconditional love energy in our hearts with the world. You can tell when you wake up in the morning going, oh, crud, I got to go live my dream today. That's not your dream, it's someone else's. So energy that helps us gain clarity around what it is we really want to do. And then the last major arcana that I'll share here is the Gemini Lover's card. So Gemini air sign energy. And it's really interesting about this major arcana. It takes like an interesting turn, as I say. The whole major arcana is about starting off from, the Fool card is our soul coming, and then you magician and the high priestess, the empress. We move up into the emperor and the hierophant, which bring in all these rules around society and organized spirituality and religion rules, right? It's all the rules. But when we hit the Lover's card at number 6, it's interesting in the story of the major arcana, because it's like we fear breaking the rules and all those small t truths, right? All those other values and beliefs that we've been given growing up, except when we hit, like, this is like teenage Romeo and Juliet kind of energy, right? It's the first time in our lives as teenagers when the fear of punishment is outweighed by our passion for a person or a thing. We don't care what the repercussions of our choices are. We must be with that person or go have that experience or that possession. Whether it's seeing someone that we're forbidden to see, or you can't go see that movie or go see that group in concert or buy something or steal something that means the world to us. So boom, we hit this energy, and the small t truths of fear are overruled by the passions and desires of the heart and body. So part of this mental adventure is that we come to a place where we realize that our small t truths are other human beings' beliefs that we took on as our own from them because they convinced us through praise and or punishment that their opinion was a truth of some kind. And out of fear of rejection, we took it on in order to not rock the boat and face ridicule or rejection from the pack. It could have been handed down even from generation to generation to generation, and has most likely been so for decades and centuries. These small t truths, right, all those small t truths we were talking about are not our truth. And to find out what our capital T truth is, we don't have to question every single small t truth that we have. It just makes it easier to balance, right, with the justice card, right? It just makes it easier to balance our thoughts if we remove some of the lower vibrational fears off the lower side of the scale and move it to the right side of the scale. See how that would balance things faster than trying to overload one side on the right side to make up for the left? So how can we go about questioning what our truth is? There are a few ways that we can use this air energy to wield the Ace of Swords. Wielding the sword. So let's talk about a few tools that can be used that are tied to air energy and the mind. We'll look at 5. So A is meditation of the mind. And meditation can look different for each person because there are things that help clear our individual mind that can be different from other people. For some, it's painting. For others, it's going for a walk. For others, working out. And for others, it can be some sort of meditative ritual. Regardless of what it is or how you do it, I encourage you to bring in what I call opening up your mind. It's like having an energy of waiting for an answer, like you've asked a question from Creator and are waiting for them to respond, as you would if you were having an in-person conversation with a human. There's a kind of expectation feeling that you are going to get an answer. So I hope that makes sense. B is breath work. So for us to be able to dig into our fears and think about things, we have to calm our bohinies down first. When we're in fight or flight mode that is ignited from fear, those small t truths, we're not able to think clearly from a higher place because our inner children have us in panic mode, just looking to fight, freeze, or flee, and definitely not think about things. It wants us reacting to get us to a place of safety where we feel in control again. Taking deep breaths or using some sort of breathing technique that feels right for you allows you to calm down. Flush that adrenaline from your system, your physical body system, and then you can return to calm mental space to reflect productively. C is journaling. I know that can be, not journaling, but there can be something helpful for us when we write down what we're thinking into the physical world. If you don't want it to be found out, you can always do it on a computer with password protection, right? Or burn it after you're done with it. But it kind of does something vibrationally when it moves the information from a mental loop going around in our head, or it moves it from mental energy into something outside of our minds instead. I know that when I have something that I can't get out of my head, when I write it down, my mind knows it's written down so it won't be forgotten, so it can stop reminding me of it over and over and over again. There's also something about my mind being able to read it and see it that helps it process the thought and energy behind it. Hey, it can't hurt, right? Unless, of course, you stick yourself with a pen or a pencil. That's the only way it's going to hurt, right? All right, so journaling. And then D is wind. So me being an air sun sign, I love the breeze and the gentle wind, and I like having a fan running in my room. I don't have a huge appreciation for stagnant air. Now, a practice that can help free mental energy is to go outside and join with the wind. You can close your eyes, open up your arms, feel the wind flow around you, and even feel it flow through you. Sense all the other beings that are part of the wind, that have joined the wind with their energy. Imagine all the little particles that are being moved along with the wind. And you can go glide with the wind in your mind and move with it, move around with it, feeling the freedom that it feels. Then let the wind wash through your mind and let it take lower vibrational energy from you and leave you with your natural, higher vibrational energy in its place. The wind is powerful, and it has the ability to transmute and transform energy from a lower vibration to a higher vibration. And of course, the wind works together with fire, earth, and water energy during storms to help change the atmosphere, and that includes the spiritual, energetic atmosphere as well. You always feel like a difference in the air after a storm, right? And then E, clearing thoughts. Thoughts originate as a response to emotions. They are constructs that are created because of an emotion that we didn't want to feel again, or we did want to feel again. So we create this web of thought to try to keep us from going through those lower vibrational feelings, and also those that will help create those that feel higher vibrational. Now, we can't transform emotions with our minds, right? Whenever you look at doing like a inner child work, there's emotional child, which is things that happen 7 years old and younger. And then there's the mental body, 7 to 14. So when you try to look at transforming things of the mind, with the mind that are of the heart, that doesn't work, right? Emotional things must be looked at and transformed with the heart. One emotion can spawn 1,000 thoughts. And if we transform the emotion, the thoughts that are related to that emotion can take care of themselves in response to the emotional transformation. Pretty cool, right? So it might make more sense to focus on emotional transformation of older thoughts because we can make such an impact with the emotional approach, right? It's like what cost benefit analysis, for the effort you put in, you can make a lot more progress looking at emotional things. And we'll dive into the Knight of Cups next month, which is the emotional seeker. So stay tuned for that. I know shadow work and the journey of the mind can feel like a lot. And sometimes we just feel like giving up. And that's okay to do for a bit. Sometimes we just need to hit the pause button and enjoy the moment and not be trying to do so much all the time, being in continual shadow work, right? Whatever we focus on the most grows. So I usually say 80-20, spend 80% of our time on higher vibrational things we're grateful for and 20% of our time on shadow work that's requesting our attention, right? But regardless, persevere. You came here on purpose. There are no mistakes. Creator and creation doesn't make mistakes. Everyone is a piece of the puzzle. And without one piece, the entire puzzle would be incomplete. And there are no extra pieces. So hang in there on your journey. And we can ask for help. We have a large host of invisible beings that are made of unconditional love and light that are just waiting for us to use our free will and power of choice to ask them for guidance, messages, signs, or whatever. Nothing is too big or too small. And one of those members of this amazing posse of support are our own elemental spirit guides. Spirit can be interpreted by humans in different ways, like from an air perspective, angels, butterflies, dragonflies, wind elementals. From fire elements, it could be spirit guides, divine masculine energy, cosmic father energy, the sun, right? Fire elemental. Earth energy, ghosts, fairies, ancestors, Mother Earth energy. That's earth elemental. And water. It can be the moon, Mother Luna, the goddess, divine feminine, cosmic mother. A lot of water elemental energy. But what the heck is an elemental spirit guide? Well, first, there are spiritual entities that embody elemental energy, like a fire elemental, meaning that is their chosen embodiment in this part of their experience. So they could appear in the physical realm as fire, a star, a sun, something combustible, something burning, or like an air element taking the form of wind. All of us, every ethereal being, has the ability to change its form and become what it wants to become for the adventure and experience it wants to experience. I know it kind of blows the mind a little bit. But for those who choose to have a lifetime on Earth, like us, as a human character, each human character is granted a quartet of spirit guides who take on a role of coordinating a human's experience in the 4 areas of a human life that are represented by the four elements, just making up words, representative. Fire, they monitor our spiritual energy, our passion, our attraction, our Akashic records. Earth energy maneuvers our outside world and our physical body. Air manages our minds, our beliefs, our communication. Water, of course, navigates the ship upon our emotional waters and relationships. And these entities don't necessarily take on the form of the element themselves, but they do choose forms to appear to us that resonate with that element's energy. They act like department heads that coordinate those different areas of our lives. For example, my air element guide can appear to me as a giant Chinese dragon floating on the wind, or sometimes as a hummingbird, little tiny hummingbird, or as a raven or a crow or a sudden gust of wind. You know, whatever is fitting for the moment when they communicate with me. And of course, FY to the I, we also have a fifth elemental-ish guide, which structures our ethereal adventures. So they're known more commonly among humans as our guardian angel, but we'll talk more about them in much more detail in our fifth video in May. But it's so different than what we've kind of been taught to believe around guardian angels. It's a whole different perspective, and I love it. Can't wait to get to that. But our human form is one of the lowest vibrational energies we experience in our adventures, and elementals willingly lower a portion of their vibration to be able to interact with our human lower vibrational self. When we humans are in lower vibrational states of emotion, it is so noisy, it's difficult for us to connect and hear from the higher vibration. Though if we lower our fears and purposely raise our love vibration to that of unconditional love, gratitude, joy, laughter, and peace, we can hear from spirit more clearly. But thankfully, the elementals don't wait for us to reach that point in our lives and come to our aid from our very inception into our mother's womb to connect with us and coordinate our adventures with the will of our high soul. Now, our elemental spirit guides, they change from human lifetime to human lifetime depending on what would resonate with the human character in each lifetime. You know, we choose different astrology in each lifetime, different flavors of the human character we play. So the elemental guides also change and alter to match that. We all have every zodiac sign in our chart because there are 12 houses of life that include all this energy. It's just that when we have planets or aspects within houses, there's an emphasis on certain energies. So we always have all four elemental spirit guides active in our lives. But they can differ, and usually do differ from lifetime to lifetime. Human lifetime. As I mentioned earlier, this is something unique to the human experience here on Earth. All right, now for the fun, extra fun part. How do you meet your elemental spirit guides? Yes, oh yes. You can get to know them as your human character, right? In our human form. In fact, you already do know them. You just can't remember them since your mama dropped you on your head as a child. No, the real reason that you can't remember is that, of course, we veil ourselves from seeing human life from an ethereal perspective so that we can have this part of ourselves, this lower vibrational human side of ourselves, experience humanity purely from the perspective of our smallness. And since this video is all about the air element, let's talk about how you can meet your air element spirit guide. We'll talk about in the other next 3 videos after this how you can connect with each individual one, but we'll focus on the air one this time. Probably the most obvious and easiest way is just to ask them, hey, I'd like to know who you are and get to know you. Reaching out to spirit in any form, they will respond to us. They are eager to interact with us as our human character. So simply asking gets the introduction started, and I love that. We may get immediate messages from them, especially into our brain, our thoughts, and even our third eye through flashes of a vision or a memory. But if this doesn't happen for you, don't fret it or beat yourself up. We have so much noise in our heads and our lives as humans, especially in this day and age because of how much social media, news, and electronics, and the fast pace of the world, all that we live in right now, it can be a bit too noisy at first. So there are a couple things that we can do to help the process along. First, you can take a deep breath and come to a calm place. It might even take us several deep breaths. If that's required, do it. Calm your mind where it's not traveling at warp speed. We're not looking to stop our brain because that's kind of impossible in this day and age. It's more just go from ludicrous warp speed to at least just, within the speed limit. Then focus on your physical brain. Think of your brain in your head. Step into your thoughts, your mind, your third eye movie screen, where you daydream or you see pictures of people and things when you talk about them. Kind of focus in on that. What do you see when you ask your air element spirit guide to show themselves to you? What thoughts race across your mind? What memories feel ignited? None of them are wrong. Make note of them, as they may not make all the sense in the world right away, but things will start to reveal themselves the more you reach out to your spirit guide to get to know them. Talk to them throughout the day. Ask them questions. Ask them to show you signs. They will. They honor our free will, and they respect it so much. They don't meddle in our lives. We give them a big honey-do list before we come down here of things we want to experience. They're always working on that stuff. But if we ask of our own free will, they will answer us because we're asking. But they really hold back a lot because we want to have this pure human experience. And they don't want to meddle in it too much and ruin it for us. Something else you can do is before you go to sleep at night, ask them to visit you in your dreams. They already use dreams to help you process mental energies, fears, situations that you're trying to figure out or find solutions for. So it's easy for them to show themselves to you in your dreams as well. So pay attention to your dreams after you ask that. But they are always interacting with us in our dream time. And I'll share a little about my own interactions with my air element spirit guides in next month's quest videos, because I don't want to influence your experience with yours right now. So, look and invite and reach out and see what comes to you there. We are so loved. I do cover more element information each month, throughout the month, through the full moon and new moon and sun readings. I have Zen Gate readings each month too, weekly Zen Bites. Also, I have the yearly energy forecast for each individual zodiac sign, and the quarterly solstice and equinox readings by element. So trying to provide as many different tools and information we can about the 4 areas of our life to help point us back to the 5th element. I've created playlists for each of the 4 elements, so if you're seeking guidance in a specific area of your life, you can reference the playlist and see which videos draw you to them. The playlists are on my main page. So that's it for this month's quest into the mental realm. And if you so choose to accept a quest, see what stood out to you in this video and let that be your personal quest, today. Or at least in between now and until our next quest video, where we'll delve into the element of water, the Knight of Cups, the Ocean Rider. Let me know if you have any questions or share any inspirations, observations, or any knowledge you'd like to share with the Zen friends. You can comment on this video, or if you would prefer something more private, you of course can email me at my email, which is bradazen@gmail.com. And I'm so glad we're on this adventure together in this lifetime. And remember, we're never alone. We are eternally and unconditionally loved by a great host of beings of unconditional love and light. And of course, I love you too. So until we meet again, much love to you and enjoy your adventure.